Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you boot up this game. I don't... I'll make you a deal. Next time you boot the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favourite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Alright, I gotta boot up my favourite time next time I stream. Oh, I forgot about the new intro. The Stanley Parable 2. It's quite ominous. The end is never loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Hold up.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Good. Welcome back. Quit the game and start again. How does it know that?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
I know what ending we're doing this time. So we're gonna take the
Stanley
bucket.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So if I go this
was not the
way,
correct way to the meeting room,
yeah.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And
yeah, come on, bucket.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
What a good friend. But away we go, buckets.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope, he didn't. He walked straight forward.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Yep, I shall do that.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Yep, that's going here. Oh.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
I'm sorry, this is fun. Okay. Hey, nice house, Stanley. Bucket, I'm home. There he is. Hello, Stanley, it's me, your bucket. Press triangle to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Take me back home.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object?
No, we're partners.
To him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
We're partners. Go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think.
It's more than a bucket.
All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
You're wrong.
It doesn't do anything else.
Shut up. Don't listen to that man. Exactly.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort
We're
of
partners in
shiny
crime.
bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Exactly. Believe I'm real, don't you? Press that button to go
Yes, I
home.
suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Live the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket.
I don't
Why do I
care,
feel
it's
some need
my
to point out
bucket.
the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket.
Go home. To work, to work, to home, to work, to home. Oh no, it's getting frisky. No, oh no.
What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say.
Bucket,
Do
you
anything
cheeky-
it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing.
Bucket.
Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome
Bucket,
situation.
no.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give
No.
me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
The bucket gets frisky at night. Get back to work, Stanley. Well, this was quite the ending to start out with.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, I know what ending we're going for this time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yes, he did.
Yet there was not a single person here
Here either.
Feeling a
Feeling
wave
a
of
wave of
disbelief,
disbelief,
Stanley
he
decided
decided
to go up to his boss's office.
office.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yep, indeed he did.
Stepping into his
2485,
manager's office,
isn't it?
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Hi.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped
know.
into the newly opened passageway.
Right, okay. Also, hi. Down we go. Loading, loading, loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
And away we go.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Indeed he did.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
Yes.
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
No, he did.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Come on, let's go.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to
I just wanted to see what was down there.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Let's go.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley was happy. The end. Beat the game. Well, game's beat. Stream's over. We've done it in 2 playthroughs. No, I'm joking.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Hey.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this
No.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I'm going down here with bucket.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Wait, what? Huh? Well, there's the line.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones
You
that
don't
matter,
know.
Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want
Like
another
what?
story involving the
I like my
Adventure
work
Line?
just
We could make the
like
Adventure
I
Line
hate
go
my
somewhere
boss.
new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay, fine. But I'm going over here.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh, not this again.
Now this
Oh,
is what
okay,
the
thank
Stanley
gosh.
Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oh, that one.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
You're gonna
But
talk
if we
about
want
that?
to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh. No. Bucket. No. I don't want to. I don't want to give Bucket up.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
No.
That's why
No.
I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This
Who?
is the Bucket Destroyer.
No. No.
I
No,
think
no,
it'll
no,
make a wonderful
no.
new addition to the rich lore
No.
of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No. Bucket's been part of the cast
Can
all
you
along.
guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely
Yeah.
you don't need me to spell it out for you.
No.
Go ahead now, Stanley.
No.
Say goodbye to the bucket.
No.
And then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
Hurry
I
up.
don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one
What?
personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush
what's
buckets
going on?
is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that
everything's
about? The
shaking.
Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of
Yeah.
Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for
No.
after this.
No.
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting
Oh.
very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line
Oh,
or
no.
the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly
No.
now. The fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give
I
the
am a
fans
fan.
what they want. Hurry and...
It's over. You're safe, Bucket. What the heck? Bucket Destroyer, I'm
Destroyer.
sorry.
My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Are we done? I think we're done. Okay, we're done. Alright, let's try that again. Let's
All of his
actually give it the
co-workers were
bucket.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms.
Oh, that's
With the
different.
bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Yeah. Bucket's
Stanley
okay.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
No, it
was
wasn't.
simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no,
Mm-hmm.
never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Don't worry, Bucket. It will all be okay. where
Oh,
I...
good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
We care about you,
You see,
Stanley.
your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very
Serious,
much.
bro?
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've
Oh,
never
wow.
seen before.
You can actually go
Yes,
in.
I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
No, no.
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
let's do it,
that's
let's
what
do
the
it.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Here we are again. Da, da, da.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oh, not that again.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to
Yep.
do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Alright, more
Don't
than
you get
willing.
it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's
Oh,
why
no.
I'm very proud
What
to
a
introduce
shame.
a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Hey there, bud.
I think it'll make a wonderful new
It's
addition
a
to the rich
bucket to
lore of the
destroy.
Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Yeah, okay. Let's give it a shot.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
No,
Surely
no
you don't need me
way.
to spell it out for you. Go
Alright.
ahead now, Stanley.
Good-
Say
Oh.
goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Go! Go, bucket!
Now
Go.
listen to me. It's
I'm
crucial
trying
that you give it
to.
the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying
Take it.
buckets is all it knows. That is
Take
its
the
singular
bucket,
personality
seriously.
trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait
it won't
deserve
take
to
the
join
bucket.
the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that it's
Take the
desired
bucket. Alright, it won't take the bucket. It's just gonna get the same ending.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be.
Huh?
Stanley
That's
just needed
different.
to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Wait, what happens if I get
Stanley
the confusion
picked up
ending with the
and
bucket?
smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
I kind of forgot how to get the confusion ending. But I know
Coming to a
another
staircase,
ending we
Stanley
can
and the
get.
bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Oh, this is new. Oh. Well, that's kind of mean. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Doop ba ba doop ba ba. Oh, I broke it. Wait, what if I just go down then? Oh. Go down! What if I just break it? Nope, okay, I guess I can't break it. I think I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm definitely missing something. Oh, what's this? Nothing. I can't go back. Oh! Bathroom. To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life would be if the have to just pick one. Stanley collectible.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So,
You're a narrator.
I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Alright. Extreme bathrooms. Oh my gosh. And time clock. Aha, I get it. Now I want to see Stanley. Alright, okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew it.
I picked up the code.
The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Oh, 2845.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it
No,
the
he didn't.
bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yeah, I know all this.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. We all know everything's
Stanley and the
fine.
bucket walked straight ahead through the large door.
No,
that
they
read,
didn't.
Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
No, they wouldn't. They're absolutely fine.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Both of them, you mean? That's not how grammar works. Ayy. The end is never the end, is... Well, Bucket, I hope you like machines.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be
No,
sure,
we're
it puts the
fine.
mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, narrator.
Farewell, Stanley,
There we
cried
go.
the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
No, he's fine. Me and Bucket are fine.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a
Oh no, he's
glorious
gone.
bucket to behold.
Poor Bucket. A memory. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're now standing in the precipice of knowledge, much like the bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within a carnivorous void, but through the use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched of unsubstantiated knowledge of the bucket, and its history is the only true knowledge that we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and as a result of the exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live your life as you were in ignorant darkness? It's a bucket, for crying out loud.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the
Goodbye,
hubris
bucket.
that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
I gotta find a way to get up there. I gotta find a way to get Bucket. What the heck?
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
No! Give me the bucket! Hehehe.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
What the heck is going
Let
on?
Stanley die.
Oh.
Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't
What?
reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can
No.
save the world's
No.
buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Hehehe. Stanley lives to get
Just
the
a
bucket
step
another
through this
day.
door, Stanley thought to himself.
Huh?
That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Okay.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Yep. Let's go find ourselves an adventure.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on
The
his
door
left.
on his... This door. What the heck? Trust the completionist instinct. There's no mode for management. 416, we can do it. Red room. Thank you, good luck. There will be a reward after finding them. Stop kidding yourselves. Oh, okay. Alright. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Nearby a fireplace. Okay. Here we go again.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
No stickers. I'm staying here. Fine.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Wait. This isn't where I needed to go.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Yeah, I don't blame you. How was this? Oh, okay, I've already seen that.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Yes. Awaiting input. What's this about? Input received. The end is never the
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the
Yeah,
meeting room.
I know
But
all
Stanley had
this.
felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Always wrong.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Yep. Wait, what happens if I try and... Nope, never mind. I see a stand-actable. Got it. Come on. Come on, Stan. Stanley got the
Another miniature
collectible.
Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another
No, I think
Stanlerine
Stanley figs.
under your belt.
No, Stanley figs. Well, Geronimo.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
That's depressing. Huh? What the heck? Not today, Bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yeah.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Okay. I know there's one ending I haven't done with this.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for... This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Let's let her
waiting.
back.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to...
Well.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Bit mean.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Dang.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Dang.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button.
Oh.
Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Yep, I'm not gonna press it. Now I'm gonna press it. Okay, nothing's gonna happen.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
Yellow line.
And down another was a game with a baby.
Yeah, I
And he
ain't
called
done
it
that one.
the Stanley Parable.
Yeah. To tell your kids a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Perhaps. Tell your
But there
wife
is
you
no
love it.
answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets.
God, this is
the
getting
more
depressing.
he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
Dang,
He won't listen
blunt.
to me. He won't stop. Here, Watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Sure. Never mind.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh, thank gosh. Oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, what the heck? The whiteboard ended. Dog made. Well, dog made.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yeah. Sure,
And
sure,
here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Yep, I've
Stanley
already
did not
seen it.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
About that.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Huh? What? Oh, this one.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Hey.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Nope.
Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
No, this is a difficult one. Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Bye, tractor.
Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Mm-mm.
Trick question. Both.
Huh?
Gotcha.
How do you make it a bucket and not a bucket?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
No.
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is
bucket,
a bucket? What isn't a bucket?
bucket.
Mere moments ago,
bucket,
I could answer these questions
bucket
with
lights,
confidence.
buckets.
Yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us
bucket
know
buttons.
what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I
No, it
can't
isn't.
let that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from
No.
the game entirely.
No.
Okay.
No.
Here we go.
No. Bucket!
What happened? Is everything gone? How did everything
I
disappear?
knew everything.
Was everything a bucket?
Yeah.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all.
But
And you,
Stanley
Stanley,
was.
you're
Oh,
still
no.
here.
Never mind.
You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news.
Uh-huh.
We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Yes.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Do I get dog? Do I get dog? No. Dog is ruined.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What if I just... Oh, okay. So input receipt from that. Let me see if I can figure it out.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Shush. Right, input receipts on there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door
on his left. Yeah. Both red and blue. Lol, looks like 427. Wait, what if I just...
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Indeed.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So what happens if I try and go in the elevator alone? Hi. Oh well.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
Alright. Right, okay, let's just...
All of his co-workers were gone.
Yeah, I know.
Mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Bye, Bucket.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Wait a minute. That happened after I hit a reset. Okay.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Weird, I'm still not seeing any others. Oh well. Door to the
Stanley
left.
came to a set of two open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Okay, so we go to the red.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Oh.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
I don't know. Maybe it's something to... Oh, it's this.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
Good.
I
I
actually
feel happy too.
Happy.
Ah.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those
this
stairs.
one then.
If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please,
Geronimo!
Stanley, no! Oh, thank God you lived. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Geronimo!
Stanley, let's
Okay.
go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm
that's
talking
green.
about.
Oh, it's green.
I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Very. Oh, that's gone red. Hey, that's multicolored. Okay. But,
No, perhaps not.
Huh. Well, Geronimo time.
My God, is this really how
No.
much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Geronimo!
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get...
Okay, I feel really bad though, so I'm just gonna...
All of his co-workers were gone.
La
What
la
could it
la
mean?
la. Huh?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay.
The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, but there has been one I've been missing this whole time. Hiya.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Hey.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one.
Figlies.
And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't
Almost.
go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Alright, time to go in.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
No.
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this.
Huh?
Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
Oh my
He
God.
had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
What? Huh? Come again?
This is the story of a woman named
Mariella.
This
one.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
How do you do that? How does one backflip all the way to work?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
But there is one more ending I can think of that I haven't gotten. So instead of going through the red door, I go for the blue door? What the heck?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
Ow. Well, it sounded so somber.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Wait, what happens if I... No, I want to get this first.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really. I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone.
Really?
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
Yep.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Nope. Enter the blue
Now listen carefully,
door.
this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nope.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
No.
Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go.
Oh.
Third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go
what
ahead,
if I
Stanley.
just...
Take it for a spin.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one.
Are you sure?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
A Tetra. Wait. I have not played for 7 hours. I've only done 2 streams. What the heck? I have not played for 7 hours. Let me check. Hold on. Yeah, it says I've played the game for 1 hour. Where? Game. Game. Am I soft locked? What the heck? What the heck? Am I soft locked? Well, guess I soft locked. Oh, great, gotta do that again.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Well, let's try again. Well,
When
no
Stanley came to
leaderboard
a
or
set
door.
of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
It was okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay,
so
fine.
he
Let's try
detoured
what I
through the
wanted to
maintenance
try
section,
earlier.
walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Nah, I'm going down here.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office.
Hi.
He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left. Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Oh, it's the sanding. I've already done the sanding. No, I thought it was something different. Okay, let's try again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There's a blue corridor again.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
It was okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, we didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Well, it's a soft lock, really.
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what.
Collapse.
Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Yeah. Even the lights are developer textured. Okay, alright, let's go. Alright,
Now,
there we go. It
would
didn't
you
break
say
on me.
that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Break.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Ah.
In this game,
Oh no.
the baby
Oh,
crawls
not
left
this.
towards
Oh.
danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail.
Okay,
It's a
I'm
very
gonna pause
meaningful
this
game,
because I
all about the
know there's a
desperation and tedium
big
of
cuss.
endlessly do it because you hate babies or
done.
purely to spite me?
Sorry, baby.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me.
We got the
I'm
baby
not
on
even going to
fire.
try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
This.
Let's see.
This part.
What do we have here?
Okay, after
Yes,
this ending, we're gonna
this
cut
seems
it.
like it'll
there.
work. Let's give it a shot.
Right, what are we playing? Oh.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's
Fire.
our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are
Space
meant to
Pass.
play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of
tower.
twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating
No.
venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley.
I don't like
and
your
it seems there's
version.
even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Oh, that's a Minecraft sound. Don't tread on me. Man, I'm loving this.
Oh, no. No, it can't be.
It's an open
It
world
is.
game.
It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off.
No!
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay,
No,
I'm
okay,
going
no,
to
we're
get us
not.
out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
What will be just the thing? Bloomin' Rocket League, yeah.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly
Hey,
what I
this
had
is
in mind.
Fortnite.
Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Can I have the Rocket League ball?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun.
I
We
know.
shall run the bases and do a touchdown together.
Yeah.
Yes, I think surely
Rocket
we
League
must.
touchdown.
Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Hey, there it is. Hey, sports ball. Oh, I can actually run now. Come on, Stanley. What a
Are
fun
you
game
doing
of
it?
sports
Are you
ball.
winning? Is this fun? Is
Yeah.
it better than my miserable little story
Oh,
that I worked so hard on?
No.
Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball.
Oh,
Yes.
now we have 2
Oh,
balls.
goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
Waiter! More balls! More balls, waiter.
Are you enjoying this, Stanley?
Yeah, this
Are
is
you
fun.
having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's
No.
over.
No!
That's right.
Sports
Your little
ball!
fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I am structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you'd like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best.
Yep.
Take care, Stanley. Hold on. What are you doing?
Bye. Bye-bye. Oh, no.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Oh. Oh. Very, eerie. Feels like there's about to be a jump scare any moment now. Not very comfortable. Oh.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
There. Okay, alright. I say it's about time that we finally just end the stream here. So, ta-ta, bye, sayonara. Whatever words you can use to say goodbye. Ta-ra.